Reggie Jackson, Dennis Smith on Saturday, it don't matter who it is. On the court, I don't got no friends. Only friend I have is the basketball, that's it. And obviously my teammates, but I go out to compete. I go out and play at a high level, like I've been saying since day one, and that's what I do.
Glad you mentioned his teammates, CC. How about a look and how about a game was this for Kevin Durant?
It's just not a good look. I mean, at some point, he said that the shot in the finals against LeBron in game three,
game we were at,
that was the passing of the torch to being the greatest player, from one greatest player now to the current greatest player. I mean, he doesn't act like it. I mean, leading up to the game last 2 days, all the interviews is, oh, this is just another game. Oh, just, no big deal. But it is a big deal. And the reason why, because at this point in Kevin's career, I don't think there has been a superstar that we'd have to really debate this, that do we know less? Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he brought us in, man. I've been a fan of Durant's, but, man, he got me on the MVP thing. Because growing up with a single mom, my mom raised 7 kids, and understanding, like, all the things he said and all the trouble she kept him out of and all the decisions that she made led to him being able to have the type of career, and she was the real MVP, I was like, man, this is the kind of superstar that's real. Now, come to find out that, man, we don't know who Kevin Durant is. I mean, like, what kind of player? We know who he is, but off the court and his old persona, like, Nick, that is a troubling thing, given how long he's been in the public eye.
It's one thing to have a guy be mysterious, to not know who a guy is.
Yes.
It's another thing to misrepresent yourself. That's the problem here. The problem is not we felt we didn't. You know a guy who I feel like we don't know? Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson does not try to represent himself one way or the other. Klay's just out there hitting shots, going to China and falling down.
Right.
He kind of being like seems like the most chill member of the Warriors.
Loves his dog.
Right, but we don't really know too much about Klay.
Yes.
Just out there living his life. KD marketed himself intentionally.
Klay liked them ladies, though.
Yeah, okay.
But go ahead.
He marketed himself intentionally as the anti-LeBron when LeBron was at his most disliked. LeBron does the decision. KD announces his extension via tweet. LeBron self-glosses himself King James. KD says, I don't even want the Slim Reaper nickname. Make it about us. KD gets the MVP. He takes time to talk about how much he loves Russ, how Russ and he are brothers. They go to battle they have the Warriors on the ropes more than up to that point in time.
Didn't he speak down on the super teams too? Are joining up players?
Oh, yeah, he said now everybody just wants to join up together. Did that as well. He, when at a press conference, defends Russ, doesn't let Russ speak for himself when he says about Mark Cuban saying he's not a superstar.
Yeah.
Then takes the Warriors closer to defeat than up to that point in time any team had. Because keep in mind, the Cavs hadn't beat them yet. They had them down 3-1. And then we find out the whole time you're texting and talking to Draymond about joining up with them. You then do join up with them. And to quote Future, mask off now. Like, you then all of a sudden, you start snarling. You start showing your ring finger to the poor fans of Memphis who are just trying to get by in a small market. It felt to me not only like inauthentic and fraudulent when he goes nose to nose with Russ last night, and it appeared, if you read lips, he called him, we'll call it a wuss. It felt to me like guys in the schoolyard that are best friends, at least appear to be best friends, but there's this popular clique that neither of the friends is in. And one friend not only leaves the friend to go join that clique, that's one thing, but then picks on the other guy, then mocks the other guy, then acts like I was never cool with the other guy. And it just rubs me personally, I shouldn't say personally, but like emotionally, rubs me the wrong way.
If you were never a fan of the NBA, you just sort of casually watched, couple years ago, Kevin Durant is one of the darlings of the NBA. He's a great guy. He's a sweetheart. You love his story. You love what he's about. You love what he stands for. You love the way he plays.
Him and Steph were two of the top three stories and top most beloved basketball players out there.
If you were never watching and you started following the NBA this offseason into this season, this guy is like one of the bad boys of the NBA, and confusing and seemingly sort of like unfocused, if you will, and with chips on his shoulders and angry for whatever reason. And he just looks like he's PO'd at the world.
Yeah, and it should be the height of his basketball career. Coming off the finals MVP.
Yes. How much better do you get than that?
This is the only success he's ever had against LeBron James. You would think that he would be maturing, and there would be certain things that he would be above.
Right.
After they separated, Russ went on to be the MVP of the regular season. KD went on to be the MVP of the finals and get a championship. Both of them should be very, very happy.
Yeah.
But Russ, he was being true to himself. Reggie Jackson, he's going to get it Friday night in Detroit. You know, and Dennis Smith Jr. on Saturday night, he's getting the same thing.
Yeah.
And what this speaks to me, and this is the last point I'll make on this, is no matter how rich, no matter how famous, no matter how successful, no matter how talented, people want to be loved and they want to be liked. No matter what success you have in your career,
going about it the wrong way.
You want to be accepted. And KD, I think, believed the reason, well, all that's between me and where I think I need to be is this ring. When in reality, as far as America's perception of him, will never be as high as it was the day he won that MVP and gave that speech. And it's because even if he now, let's say he now does another turnabout, and you know what I mean, has a course correction, we're never going to know what's real and what's not.
Right.
Here's one thing I know. Love or hate Russell Westbrook, you know what that guy's about, who he is, and he's authentic. And that's one thing we can't say about the second best basketball player alive, and that's a shame.
All right, last segment here before we go eat more food than we should be eating. The real reason families get together over Thanksgiving, guilt. It's really just guilt. Guilt in football. It's guilt and it's football. The Chargers taking on the Cowboys today. Cowboys have lost 2 in a row with key members of their team missing, namely Ezekiel Elliott and Tyron Smith. TC, what do you expect to see from Dak and the Cowboys this afternoon?
Well, that's contingent on some things. So the rest of the Cowboys going to show up, because I'm not going to put all that responsibility on Dak Prescott. Yes, I expect Dak to play well, but how well is the offensive line going to play?
Right.
I mean, are they going to play like the best line in football, or are they going to play like a line that's played like the middle of the pack in the NFL? You know, will he have enough time to throw the ball? But I expect Dak, they need to win this football game. They have to come out of this game 6-5. I don't expect them to play conservatively. I don't expect Dak to turn the football over. I don't expect them to be careless with the football. But if they don't make 5 plays of 25 yards, 20 or 25 yards in the passing game, I don't think they're going to win. I don't think if they don't do an inordinate amount of run-pass options with the quarterback, so I look for him to carry the ball more than he did in any other game, because they need to win, and they have a little mini bye kind of this weekend. They play 7 days, and then they get a mini bye after that. So this is a game that I expect the offensive coaching staff to put the onus on the other players, that being the offensive line and the skilled players, to make plays so that Dak can play to the ability that we're used to seeing. I don't expect the Dak that we've seen the last 2 weeks. I expect for the correction to come back, and the poise and the leader of the Dallas Cowboys to come back, not the turnover machine and the sack machine that they have been the 2 previous weeks.
Here is what we're going to find out today. Are the Dallas Cowboys, without Ezekiel Elliott, even a good football team? We know they're not a great football team without Zeke. You can't lose one of the most special players in the league. It's very difficult, I should say, and still be a great football team. But are they a good football team? Because if they are, they'll beat the Chargers. The Chargers have 4 wins this year, all against bad football teams. Every game they've played this year against good football teams, they have lost and found somewhat spectacular ways to lose. And Dak Prescott, listen, the first time Chris and I ever did a television show together, filling in for Skip and Shannon on Undisputed last year, the day after Christmas, I remember saying, I believe Dak Prescott is your 2016 NFL MVP. That it's not about his offensive line. That he is the engine that powers that offense.
Right.
Well, the last 2 weeks, he has not looked like that at all. He has looked like not just a system player, but a, what do they call that? A game manager quarterback. I want to see Dak go out there and say, hey, we know our ceiling isn't the same without Zeke, but I got us today. We're at home on Thanksgiving, a game the whole nation's going to be watching against a mediocre football team. I got it.
This is the feel of the Cowboys coming out. You probably want to see them off to a quick start early, right? Maybe a couple no huddle.